Hey everyone, I'm Meghan Sullivan and welcome to my review for the Live Alive demo. Live Alive. Live Alive. Live Alive? You know what I mean. I'll be honest, I didn't really know what to expect from this game, and I still kind of don't. Its overall plot remains a befuddling mystery to me, but what I can tell you is that I enjoyed this kooky off-the-wall demo, even though it's super short and I'm not yet sold on the battle system. So let's start with the positive. This game looks gorgeous! I am so impressed with how Square Enix took a nearly 30-year-old game featuring different art styles by different artists, polished it up, and brought it into the 21st century. HD 2D is the gift that keeps on giving, and you can really see that here. Environments are rich in color and detail. I love the lighting and shading effects, as well as the dynamic environments. But my favorite thing is the use of foreground and background in this game. It really complements Live Alive's quirky gameplay dynamics. Look how great it looks when playing the shinobi character in Edo, Japan. It's fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, the fantastic music is composed by the legendary Yoko Shimomura and is a real treat to listen to. Okay, but how is this story? Well, that's kind of hard to answer, as Live Alive has an omnibus narrative style, meaning it has 7 separate stories with 7 slightly different skill systems. And because the demo is so short, I only got a tiny taste of how each narrative will play out. In this demo, you can play as a shinobi in Edo, Japan, a kung fu master in Imperial China, or an adorable roly-poly little robot from the future. They're so cute. I like that each character looks and feels distinct and has their own special movesets. For example, as a shinobi, I can stealth my way through a castle by turning invisible, or climbing trees and running around rooftops. As a little robot, I can glide through a space station on roller skates, rollerblades? This game is originally from the 90s. Or play a video game that is essentially a combat simulator. As a Shifu, I can have amusing interactions with people around me while beating up bandits and tigers. The individual stories may not be super complex or even all that unique, but I like how being able to freely bounce between chapters keeps things fresh and interesting. And I appreciate the quality of life improvements not featured in the original game, like the addition of a map and a radar, both of which help you navigate the overworld and see where you've been, where you haven't been, and where you need to go. One thing I wasn't as keen on is the battle system. It's interesting on paper, and yes, it can be fun, but it feels kind of, clunky in its execution. Battles are turn-based and take place on a 7x7 grid, where you move your character around different tiles in order to get within range of enemies and attack them using all kinds of cool abilities. By the way, I love the combat animation in this game, it looks great. Since each of your character attacks has a specific range and category, damage types include martial arts, projectiles, elemental spells, etc., and the effectiveness of an attack depends on your character's orientation, i.e. whether they're behind an enemy, in front of an enemy, etc., there's a bit of strategy needed to win each battle. That's not a bad thing. In fact, the mechanics, while not nearly as deep, are kind of similar to the ones found in Fire Emblem and Triangle Strategy. Unfortunately, Live Alive isn't fully committed to being a strategy game, so unlike in, say, Fire Emblem, there isn't a preview mode that allows you to click on an individual unit and figure out the best tile to position them on before moving and taking up a turn. This is a problem for 2 reasons. Number 1, it results in quite a bit of trial and error as you puzzle out the best place to maneuver your units so they can unleash an attack that takes advantage of an enemy's weakness. Number 2 is that every time you move an ally, the enemy's charge gauge fills up, and it's one step closer to an attack. Now the good news is you can rearrange your party's formation and pass turns from one unit to another, which can diminish the amount of turns you use up. But passing along turns still causes the enemy's charge gauge to fill up, which kind of negates the whole thing a little bit. In short, this combat system just doesn't feel all that intuitive. Another problem is the UI. It's not bad, but enemy gauges are small and hard to read, especially on handheld mode. And there's no way to enlarge text or improve your overall UI experience, although you can adjust brightness and contrast and fiddle with the audio settings, so there is that. And look, maybe I just need more time with the combat system. Maybe I should just go play more Captain Square. Speaking of which, the good news is that at least in 2 of the chapters, combat is optional. The shinobi can straight up avoid fights, although it's disappointing that avoiding fights also translates into not being able to ever win one in the event of an enemy encounter, and the little robot buddy never has to fight at all, so far, unless it wants to play Captain Square, a cute little combat simulator. Truth be told, I wish this demo would let me play more characters so I can get a better feel for the mechanics. But alas, there are only 3 characters available, and each chapter can be zipped through in as little as 15 to 20 minutes. Because it's so short and because I'm having a hard time reading this game, I'm a little on the fence about it. Do I enjoy it so far? Yes. Will I continue to do so? That's up in the air. In the end, this game may not be my cup of tea, but it might be yours. And since the demo is free and very short, I say go ahead and download this on your Switch. I mean, you gotta live a little, right? Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.